Hi guys, it's me Terri of the Yarnjoy podcast. Welcome back to another tutorial. This is part 13 of the baby educational ball tutorial series, and today we're going to do the 12th panel of our ball. So we're right at the end of this series. We'll do the 12th panel today, and then in the next video we will be assembling the ball together. So I'm very excited to be finished with it, but I have enjoyed making all of these tutorials for you. Thank you so much, Patricia Heller, for designing this pattern and for giving me permission to do a tutorial for it. Okay, so let's get started. So for today's video, we're going to do the octopus panel, and so we're going to need our last remaining finished panel that we haven't used yet. I'm going to be using the main color, well, I guess it's the main color. Well, the octopus is two colors, okay? And so the center color, I'm going to use this light purple color. And then for the stripes and the legs of the octopus, I'm going to be using this green, okay? You're going to need a little bit of black, just a tiny bit to put, if you want to stitch on eyes and a smile. A little bit of stuffing, okay? Yarn needle, a marker, and of course your crochet hook. And you want to use the crochet hook that you've been using throughout the whole series. I'm using a 3.0 millimeter hook. All my yarn that I'm using is a size 3 weight or DK weight yarn. For my project, you want to use the same weight of yarn that you've been using throughout. Okay, and let's see, I think that's it. So let's just get started with it. Okay, so taking the center, whatever center part center color that you want to use for the octopus, this is where the face will be stitched onto, the very center of it. You want to take that yarn first, and we're going to start with a magic ring. Okay, and as I have said in all my other videos, if you want to chain 2 and then work in the second chain from the hook, you can do that instead of using a magic ring. But I'm going to be using a magic ring. Okay, and as all the other ones that we've started, we're going to start with 6 single crochets in that magic ring. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, now I'm going to pull on the beginning tail to tighten up my circle. Okay, so for round 1, we should have 6 single crochets. Okay, a stitch count of 6. Okay, going on to round 2, we're going to do 2 single crochets in each stitch all the way around. Okay, so going right into our first stitch, because we're not going to be joining, we're working in spirals. I'm going to do 2 single crochets in that first stitch. 1 and 2. Okay, now I'm going to take my marker and I'm going to put it in the first stitch of those 2 that I just made. I'm going to put the marker in the first one to mark the beginning of my round. And now I'm going to work 2 single crochets in each stitch all the way around until I get back to the marker, and I will meet you when I get back to the marker. Okay, I got back to the marker, and now I have a stitch count of 12 all the way around my circle. Okay, so I'm going to take my marker out, and I'm going on to round number 3. In round number 3, we're going to do 2 single crochets in the first stitch and then 1 single crochet in the next stitch. Okay, so going right into the first stitch of the round, I'm going to do 2 single crochets into that stitch. So 1 and 2 in the same stitch. Okay, and I'm going to put my marker in the first of those 2 that I just made. And then going on in the next stitch, I'm going to make 1 single crochet. Okay. Okay, and that's our sequence. So in the next stitch, we're going to do 2 single crochets, 1 and 2, and then in the next stitch, we're going to do 1 single crochet. Okay, so repeat that sequence all the way around, and I will meet you up when I get back to the marker. Okay, I just got back to the marker, and now I have a stitch count. At the end of round 3, I have a stitch count of 18 stitches all the way around my circle. Going on to round 4, I'm going to do 2 single crochets in the first stitch and then 1 single crochet each in the next 2 stitches. So I took my marker out so then I can put it in the correct so I can put it in the first stitch of the next round. So going right into the first stitch, I'm going to do 2 single crochets in that one stitch. So 1 and 2. We're going to replace my marker in the first single crochet of those 2 that I just made, and then I'm going to do 1 single crochet each in the next 2 stitches. So 1 single crochet in this stitch and then 1 single crochet in the next stitch. Okay, so that's our sequence. So I'm going to do 2 single crochets in the next stitch, 1 and 2, and then I'm going to do 1 single crochet in the next 2 stitches. So 1 single crochet in the next stitch, 1 single crochet in the next stitch. Okay, and I'm going to repeat that sequence all the way around, and I will meet you when I get back to the marker. Okay, so I'm at the end of round 4. I've got one more stitch that I need to make, so I'm going to go ahead and do 1 single crochet in that last stitch, but before I finish it, when I still have 2 stitches on the loop, 2 stitches, no, 2 loops on the hook still, I'm going to take my next color, which I'm going to be using green. It says turquoise in the pattern. Okay, trying to find the end of it here. Okay. Okay, and then I'm going to take this next color and I'm going to use that to finish off my single crochet. Okay, like that. And then I'm going to snug down my previous color. But I'm not going to cut that purple, the first color, which is purple for me, because I'll pick it up and use it again in another round. Okay, so now that I've got to the end of round 4, I now have 24 stitches all the way around my circle. And so going on to round 5, I'm going to be continuing in this green color now. I'm going to take my stitch marker out. Going on to round 5, it says 2 single crochets in the next stitch, 1 single crochet in the next 3 stitches. So going right into the next stitch, I'm going to do 2 single crochets in the green, 1 and 2. Okay, put my marker in the first of those 2 stitches, and then going on, I'm going to do 1 single crochet each in the next 3 stitches. So 1 single crochet in the next stitch, 1 single crochet in the next stitch, 1 single crochet in the next stitch. And that's our sequence for this round. So I'm going to do two single crochets, 1 and 2, and then in one stitch, and then I'm going to do 1 single crochet in the next 3 stitches. So 1, 2, and 3. Okay, and now we're going to repeat that sequence all the way around, and I will meet you when I get back to the marker. Okay, so I'm coming up to the end of round 5. I have 1 more single crochet to go to finish it up, and I'm going to change color again. So I'm going to start off my single crochet in the same color that I'm working in, which is green for me, and I drew up a loop. Now I have 2 loops on my hook, and now I'm going to drop my green color, and I'm going to go back to the first color that I used, which in my case is purple, and then I'm going to use that, and I'm going to finish the single crochet, and then I'm going to tighten up the green yarn in the back. Okay, now I'm at the end of round 5, and so you should now have 30 stitches all the way around your circle. Going on to round 6, I'm going to take out my marker, and I'm going to do 2 single crochets in the first stitch, 1 single crochet each in the next 4 stitches. So going right into my next stitch, I'm going to do 2 single crochets. And I'm now working in the first color that I used, or the purple for me. Okay, so I just did 2 single crochets in that stitch. I'm going to place my marker in the first of those 2 single crochets that I made. Now I'm going to do 1 single crochet each in the next 4 stitches. So 1 single crochet in the next one, 1 single crochet in the next one, and 1 single crochet in the next one, and 1 single crochet in the next one. Okay, 4 of them. Okay, now I'm going to repeat my sequence. I'm going to do 2 single crochets in the next stitch, 1 and 2, and then I'm going to do 1 single crochet in the next 4 stitches, and then I'll repeat that sequence, and I'm going to do it all the way around, and I will meet you when I get back to the marker. Okay, so I just finished round 6, and at the end of round 6 I have 36 stitches all the way around my circle. I already took my marker out. Okay, now going on to round 7, well, actually round 7 and 8, we're just going to do 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way around, okay? But we're going to change color after this round. We're going to stay with the first color, which in my case is purple, and I'm going to do 1 round with 1 stitch in each, 1 single crochet in each stitch around, okay? And then I will meet you when I get finished with round 7, okay? So going on to round 7, I'm going to do 1 single crochet in the next stitch, put my marker into that stitch, okay? And now I'm just going to do 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way around, okay? No more increasing. And I will meet you when I get back to the marker. Okay, so I just finished round 7. I still have 36 stitches all the way around my circle, okay? And but I do need to do my very last single crochet of this round because I'm gonna color change, okay? So starting my single crochet, I'm gonna bring up a loop of my purple color because that was the color I was working on, and now I'm going to drop this color. In fact, I do not need this color anymore, so I'm going to go ahead and cut my purple, which is the first color, whatever your center color was, okay? And now I'm going to pick up my green color and I'm going to go on continuing with that. So I'll finish up my single crochet, okay? Pull down that purple in the back there to snug it up. Now I'm going to go on to round 8, and in round 8 I'm just going to continue with this green color, and I'm going to do 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way around, and I will meet you when I get back to the marker. Okay, so I just finished round 8, and all I did was 1 single crochet in each stitch around, okay? So I still have a stitch count of 36. Okay, I'm going to remove my marker, and then we're going to go on to round 9, and this is the round that we're going to form the tentacles, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and go on to the first stitch. I'm going to do 1 single crochet in the next 4 stitches, but I'm going to do the first one, and then I'm going to put my marker back in there to mark the beginning of my round. Okay, and now I'm going to do 1 single crochet in the next. That was the first one that I just made, so that was number 1, and then 1 single crochet in the next one, 1 single crochet in the next one, and 1 single crochet in the next one. So I did 4 single crochets, okay, in the first of that round. Okay, so after you do 4 single crochets, you're going to chain 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, and then it says to single crochet 13 back down this chain, okay? So you're going to single crochet in the second chain from the hook, okay? Single crochet, and then single crochet down the chain until you get back to the base, okay? Okay, so I just single crocheted all the way down my chain, and I actually got 14 single crochets, okay? And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to slip stitch into the same stitch that I did my last single crochet in on the base, okay? I'm going to slip stitch into that same, back into that same stitch, okay? To finish off my tentacle. Okay, so now I'm going to single crochet into the next 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so now I'm ready to do my second tentacle. I'm going to chain 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, so I'm going to single crochet in the second chain from the hook, and I'm going to continue single crocheting all the way down the chain, and then I will meet you when I get back down to the base again. Okay, so I'm at the base of my second tentacle. Now this one, instead of slip stitching into the same single crochet that I did in the previous one when I was still working on the base, that 4th single crochet, instead of slip stitching into that same stitch, I'm going to slip stitch into the next single crochet. Sorry about that, that's my phone. Okay, so the reason I'm doing that is because I think if we alternate between slip stitching into the same stitch as the beginning single crochet before the chain, and then the next one we're going to slip stitch into the next stitch like I did that one, then we should end up with 8 tentacles all the way around. Okay, I'm trying to space out the tentacles, so then we will have 8 tentacles because an octopus has 8 tentacles. So going on to the third tentacle, I'm going to single crochet in the next 4 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so now I'm ready to make my third tentacle. I'm going to chain 15 and then turn around and single crochet back down the chain, and when I get finished, when I get back down the chain, then I'm going to slip stitch into the same stitch as the one I just finished right here, the 4th one. Okay, and then keep alternating that, in other words. So this one, it would be in the same stitch, and then when I get to the 4th tentacle, I'm going to slip stitch in the next stitch over, not into the base. Okay, and then I alternate that, and I should have enough you should be able to work your way all the way around and end up with 8 tentacles if you do it that way. If you alternate either in the same slip stitch or into the next, or doing the slip stitch into the next chain. I hope that makes sense. Otherwise, if you do it the same way all the way around, I ended up with 9 tentacles instead of 8 tentacles. And so if you want to be accurate and do 8 tentacles, then alternate where you put that slip stitch. Either slip stitch into the base of the last single crochet that you did on the base for the next one, and then the next one, when you do a tentacle, then slip stitch into the next unworked stitch on your base. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. So I'm going to keep doing that and alternating where I put that slip stitch so I can end up with 8 tentacles by the time I get back to the marker. And I will meet you when I get back to the marker. Okay, so I've got my 8 tentacles made, and then at the end of my 8th tentacle I just slip stitch down into the last stitch of the round. Okay, and so now I'm ready to fasten off. I'm going to leave a long tail because this is the yarn I'm going to use to sew it onto the panel. And so I'm just going to wrap my yarn loosely around the whole entire thing, one ring around, to make sure that I have enough yarn tail to sew it on. And so I'm going to cut my yarn, and since I did do a slip stitch at the end, I'm just going to pull my yarn through. If it doesn't get hung on anything. There it goes. Okay, and then I am ready to sew on my face. Okay, so I'm going to take my marker out. Don't need that anymore. And then I'm going to take my black yarn and just cut a length of black yarn to use to sew on my face. Okay, get my yarn needle, and I'm going to go ahead and thread my needle with that black yarn, and then just referring to the picture if you want to do it that way, or you don't have to put a face on your octopus at all if you don't want to. That's fine, just make it your own. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stitch on my little face here. Looks like the smile is right below, between round 1 and round 2 of my circles. Okay, and so the eyes looks like they are between round 2 and 3. So there's round 1, 2, and 3. So 1, 2, 3 right there. No, this one. Okay, and now I'm going to just make about 3 stitches or so to make an eye. Tangle in the back there. Okay. Okay. So there's my first eye, and then I'm going to come over here about equal distance and make a second eye. Well, 2 stitches over. Okay, so I think I'm going to go back over here and I'm going to put in an extra stitch. I don't want them to look long. I'm trying to get them where they look kind of rounded. Just play around with them until you get it the shape that you're wanting. Okay, yeah, like that. Okay, and then let's see. It seemed like my eyes are a little bit higher than what was in the picture, which no, lower than what's in the picture. So I think I'm going to put my smile a little bit lower. Okay. Okay, there's my little octopus smile. Trying to even out both sides. Okay, there you go. Okay, so there's our little face. So now I'm going to, it doesn't matter if this is a big mess in the back because this is all going to be on the inside, so no worries there. I'm going to just tie my yarn. Just tie some of the yarn tails together in a knot. Like that. Trim my yarn tail short, or short-ish. Okay. Okay, and so there is my octopus. Okay, so now I'm going to take my panel and I'm going to center my octopus onto the panel like that. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start stitching my octopus down, but then I'm going to use my stuffing, and before I sew it all the way around, then I'm going to put some stuffing in there to make him a little more three-dimensional. Okay, so let's do that next. I'm going to take the tail that I left from my octopus, and I'm going to use that to sew my octopus on the panel. Center the smile up with the top of the panel. Okay. And then I'm just going to go right into the, from the front to the back, and I'm going to start stitching my octopus down. Make sure I check the positioning every once in a while to make sure it's still in the same position that I'm wanting it. You can use pins to secure it down. I'm not going to sew the tentacles down. I want them to be free. I'm just going around the base of the octopus. Like that. Oop, caught a tentacle. Okay, so I'm going to keep doing that, and I'm going to finish sewing on my octopus, but like I said, before I get it all the way closed, I'm going to insert some stuffing into it. Okay, and I will meet you back when I get finished with that. Okay, so I finished sewing on my octopus. I did leave a little gap right at the end, right before I made it all the way around, and where I inserted some stuffing underneath his body part to make him more three-dimensional. And then I finished up sewing him on, and then I brought the tail that I was working on toward the center, and then I had a piece of the panel color, the end tail there still, and so I tied the tails together in a knot, okay, to fasten it off. Okay, so that is the end of panel number 12, which concludes the Baby Educational Ball series as far as the panels go. So I will be making one more video showing how I'm going to be putting these panels together to form my ball. So stay tuned for that. So as always, I hope you enjoy these videos, and good luck on making your octopus. Like I said, just alternate where you put the slip stitch at the end of each tentacle, and then you should end up with 8 tentacles around your octopus's body. Okay, just play around with the placement. Okay, so thanks a lot, guys, and we will see you in the next part where we will start putting the ball together. So have a great day, and we will see you in the next video. Bye, guys.